guys, it's Scarlett, and today I'm here to tell you guys like one of the scariest things that's ever happened to me, even though it didn't actually hurt me or anything, but it was really scary. So I'm just gonna tell you guys the story of how there was clowns and they were really close to us and they could have done something. So yeah, let's get into that. So on October 1st, I went over to my friend's house. We're gonna name her Candle. So I went over to Candle's house, and Candle lives in a pretty big neighborhood. So she lives in this huge neighborhood, and this other girl, we're gonna call her Ramen. So Ramen also lives in the same neighborhood, but it's across the road. You have to cross the road to get to Ramen's neighborhood, but it's still considered the same neighborhood. So we went over to Ramen's house. Ramen was having a big volleyball volleyball sleepover, and I didn't stay the night at Ramen's house that night. I stayed at Candle's house. So me and Candle went to go get Ramen, and we waited for Ramen to get all the girls there, because once we got there, we decided that we were gonna have a big manhunt game at night, or a manhunt hide and seek game at night. So we got over there and we got all the girls and we got Ramen, and we started walking back to Candle's neighborhood. And then once we got to Candle's neighborhood, also let me tell you guys, Candle's dad felt really bad for leaving us, because Candle's dad needed to run a couple errands that day, and he felt really bad for leaving us home alone. But this just made it so much worse for him probably, but it's okay. So we walk back all the way to Candle's neighborhood, and we get all the boys and all the girls and everyone from Candle's neighborhood to play manhunt with us. So we split up into manhunt groups, and then these three boys come along, and we know them, they go to our school, and I'm just gonna name one of them for you guys. We're gonna name him Turtle, because he's really slow and he's really chill and laid back about everything. So he never runs, and he never if he runs, you need to run, because if he runs, something actually really bad is happening. So Turtle and we got this kid that lives in our neighborhood. We're gonna call him Car. He's really tall. He could protect himself if he needed to. So Car gets all the boys in his group, and then we get all the girls in Candle's group, and then we kind of split up into manhunt groups. There was a couple girls on the boys team, and there was a couple boys on the girls team, and then we have little siblings too with us. So there's everyone's little sister and little brother are playing manhunt with us too. So yeah, so we play one round of manhunt and we're totally fine. And then this is it starts getting dark, and this brown small car that we've never seen before, even Candle and Ramen and Car, they all live there, and they're no, we've never seen this car before, we don't know who's in that car. So they pull up, and they it's four grown, not grown, but 18, 17, 19 years old, 19-year-old guys pull up right next to us, and they're hey, how old are y'all? And then everyone was obviously scared, because we don't know who they are, and they were smoking in the back of the car. So once they were driving away, for some reason they yelled hey, Ramen, to my friend Ramen. We didn't know, Ramen didn't know any of them, and no one in that whole entire big group, and there was 20 of us, have ever seen that car, or know any of the people in that car, or know what they're doing. So later we played one more round of manhunt, and then me and Candle and a couple little siblings and a couple of other girls that were staying with Ramen went inside Candle's house, because Candle's house was right there. So we were staying in there for a little bit while Car's group and Car and Ramen and Turtle were out there, and there was 10 people out there, but that's just 3 of them. There was a lot of people out there, and they were still playing. So then we're in there for an hour and a half. So we're in her house and we're chilling, and then I was y'all, it's getting really boring in here. We should go outside for a couple minutes. So we all go outside, and we're sitting in the middle of the road. Also, let me tell you, this whole day I've been guys, there's gonna be clowns tonight, like there's gonna be clowns, like we're gonna get like murdered by clowns, like we shouldn't go outside. And everyone was like, no, Scarlett, be quiet, there's no clowns. And I'm like, okay, well, let me tell you. So we went outside and we sat down in the middle of the road, like outside of her house, like in the middle of the road, like where her driveway is like kind of close to us. So we sat there, and then we were literally like just sitting there, and we got outside, and like a minute after we got outside, this same car pulls up, and then they stopped at the curb, like they just stopped, and they were just chilling there for a couple of seconds, and then we all look over there and we're like, oh crap, because before, like when that car pulled up the first time, we're like, if we see that car again, we have to like take off, like we can't just do that. And so that car pulls up again, and this time, since it's dark and they had like a car light on, like in the car, so you could see everyone in the car, they were all wearing masks. So what did I tell them? I was like, y'all, I told you. And then everyone started sprinting, like Cars group, Turtle started sprinting, and when Turtle sprints, you know that something bad just like went down. So Turtle started sprinting, and then we like all got into Candle's house, and then Cars group kind of went with Car, but a couple girls that have already stayed outside like with Car, they decided to go in with us. So we sprinted to the door, and then the door was locked, and then the car full of clowns was just right there, and it was the scariest thing ever. And we sprinted, and we're like banging on the door, and we're getting her, because like 2 of her siblings stayed inside. So we're like banging on the door, and they like come rushing to the door, and they open it, and they're like, what happened? And then we like shove them. We're like, oh, move. We need to get inside and like lock the door now. And then this one girl that was with Car before, she decides to come in with our group, and she was kind of late. She was kind of like late on running. She was in like 10 seconds, like she was behind like 10 seconds, like 5 seconds behind us. So we had already locked the door, and then she's banging on the door, and she's like crying, and she's like not crying, but like she's really scared. She's banging on the door, and we're all so scared. And then we're like, don't open the door for anyone. And I'm like, guys, we have to let her in, because like she's gonna die out there if we don't let her in. So we have to let her in, or she's gonna die. So we unlocked the door, and we like opened it, and we dragged her, like we pulled her in, and we like ganked her in, and then we locked the door, and then the car was still like slowly driving like full of clowns. They were just like looking at the house, and it was the scariest thing ever. And I know they were looking because I went over to her like dining room, and I looked out the window, and it like shows the front of her like house and what's in front of her house. And I looked, and the car is just like driving so slow, and they're all like, all the clown masks were just like looking at us, and I was like, do you feel me? Like it's so scary, because like this month was the month where like the whole clown thing got out of control, and everyone was like dressing up as clowns and like scaring people, and like there was actual clowns, like that Facebook page, they were like posting things about like threatening to kill people. So like it wasn't really a joke, but like it was really scary. And then after that, Ramen called her mom. She's like, hey, yo, mom, ring the van, we need to get all the girls in there. But me and Kendall had to go to one of her neighbors' houses until Kendall's dad got home, because we didn't want to stay in her house alone, obviously, when that just happened, and they watched us go inside her house. So it was really scary, and we stayed in there for a while, and then Broccoli's dad finally got home, and like Ramen and her whole like volleyball group had already left to Ramen's house. So yeah, and it was a really scary night, and like we couldn't sleep for a while because we were really scared. And then the morning we like wanted to see if we saw that car, but we didn't. So if anything like this has ever happened to you, make sure to tell me so I don't feel as alone, and make sure to give this story a big thumbs up and subscribe if you liked it, and if you didn't like it, because I'll make you more that are probably better. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.